to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Antidote, a new emotional wealth framework to build resilience. No other than Mr. JC Chamberlain.
So nice to be here, Daniel, and to see you again and talk about this book. As the audience grows, it's now somewhat of a bestseller, what we call a bestseller in the U.S. So it's exciting to see the traction for the book.
And congratulations, Mr. JC, for being a best-selling author. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Your title is powerful. What is specific poison or set of emotional challenges that your framework is designed to counteract on our modern world? The
I think
antidote.
sure. I think the thing that we let's see. Did you want to see this picture in a picture? I can allow this.
You want to share? Okay.
I can share. Yes.
If you want to share, yes, must be on the website. Okay, Mr. JC.
Let's see. How do we put it onto the website?
Go to the share, and if it's not on the website, you cannot share.
Got it. Hold
If
on. Share
okay.
screen. And a new framework. Here we go. That's it. So you can see this. I think it's helpful.
Yes, we can see it.
You see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the elements of the new framework, and it allows us to see the parts of our life that begin with our dreams. And our dreams are the beginning of everything that helps us overcome loneliness. The primary thing that we do as humans is that we have this special skill, which is connection and belonging. And when we engage in belonging, it gives us a superpower to overcome loneliness. It's said that loneliness, especially isolation and loneliness, is the equivalent of 16 cigarettes a day in terms of the toxicity to your body. So this is an antidote for loneliness, is to look at these resources that you have, the learning for life, how you earn, the emotional strength that you gain from being careful about your earning, how you give back to charities and through real money and through time, the relationships that you build, your connection to the divine spirit, your health that you build as a physical resilience. All of these come together as a framework for emotional wealth.
Emotional wealth. You see the spelling wealth, implying that emotional health is a form of riches or abundance. How does shifting from wellness to wealth change our relationship with our own emotions, Mr. JC?
I think, by having goals, it allows us to get out of a focus and dwelling on the negative. And when we identify our goals, these are our dreams. It allows us to aspire to something. And when we aspire to something, then and only then can we be inspired to create a goal. So we have an aspiration, and then we have inspiration, and then we must sweat in order to reach those goals. You can't just sit still. And so you go out into the world, and that part I call perspiration. So we have aspiration, inspiration, and perspiration. And these are the three ways that we overcome loneliness, is by engaging with the world.
Engaging to the world. So, Mr. JC, what was the critical missing piece you saw in existing approaches to emotional health and resilience that made you develop to this new framework?
Well, I think what I see around me that is probably the most lacking is that people think that uh, the distance between what we don't know and what we know, that people think that it's a straight line. And fundamentally, the way the world is set up, uh, it's a wavy, curvy line. And so we have to be vulnerable. And I think it's that vulnerability that allows us to go out into the world, to acknowledge we don't know some things, and listen to the world, learn from the world. And when we join organizations, we have to begin from a viewpoint of some kind of vulnerability that we need each other. And I think that's the thing that I find the most lacking, that's the most dangerous, that's potentially the most toxic, is that we think we don't need other people, that we're okay on our own. The reality is that's something that's really uniquely human, is that we need each other.
We need each other, people. No one is an island. So, what was or many people link of resilience as the ability to bounce back. How does your framework redefine or expand upon traditional definition?
How does our brain define this?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. I think we have several layers of resilience that we can build. And this framework is a simple way of thinking about it, um, because we all have dreams. It's the most fundamental thing that gets us out of bed in the morning. Is we dream about something, or maybe we have a fear about something. But one way or another, something motivates us to get out of the bed, get out in the world, and begin to engage. I think we have that wiring in our brain. We are hardwired to connect. And people who decide they don't need that, then this is a shortcoming that we can work on using the framework.
Mr. JC, tell us what was the single most important personal or professional insight that become a cornerstone of the emotional wealth framework?
I'll tell a story, just a 30-second story about my mother when I was a child. She used to whisper to us when we needed some encouragement. She said, "Don't worry, nothing is going to be okay." And you might think that's a negative statement, but the reality is she wanted us to be over prepared for the world. And so I think that was the turning point for me, was understanding that I could over prepare for the world by using specific methods. And the most important thing for me, which was my turning point, was experiencing a setback and reframing that bad situation into a good opportunity. I think we may know or not know that the symbol in Chinese symbology for chaos is the same symbol as the one for opportunity. Interesting why this Chinese culture has made that decision, that chaos really is opportunity if you look at it properly.
Mr. JC, could you walk us through the core components of or pillars of your framework? What is the essential building blocks for this new kind of emotional resilience?
I think emotional resilience comes from uh, a step by step approach to our life. We find that discipline, when nobody's looking, the real winners are disciplined about their behavior and they practice. So these elements uh, lead us to an understanding of being coachable. And this is a fundamental of the emotional wealth framework is coachability, is that we arrive vulnerable and without knowledge. And we find people who have an expertise that can guide us in these different areas. So I think a fundamental building block of each of these areas is being coachable, is the ability to listen and to be guided, whether it be in your learning or your giving or your connection to the divine spirit. All of these areas allow us to be coached by someone, by some kind of an expert.
For someone feeling emotionally drained and overwhelmed, what is the very first, most accessible step in your framework that they can take today?
I would call a friend. You know, there's a sad statistic that something like more than half of people over 60 felt that they had no one that they could call in a crisis. And I think we can deliberately nurture this because we have a special human capacity to nurture connection, whether it's sitting for coffee, cup of coffee with a friend, or joining in a sport activity, uh, engaging in continuing learning, or going back to school for another course, another degree. These are all ways that we can build resilience by beginning with a fundamental vulnerability, knowing that we don't know something, and then being coachable.
Being coachable, I like that. Mr. JC. And how does your framework integrate the physical body, sensation, breath, movement into the process of building emotional wealth?
Great question. I think we have two superpowers, Daniel. One is our willpower, and this involves our self-talk, which is a very serious part of our life, where we can have a story that we tell ourselves that is very positive, or we can choose to tell ourselves a story that is very negative. So positive self-talk becomes a superpower for us. Um, and the second aspect, the second superpower is core power, which is your physical strength, your nutrition, your ability to rest and recover, and your support network. So this includes building your health and resting, because we gain more strength in recovery than we do during the work cycle. So I think there are these two superpowers that are fundamental here on your physical body. One is building your willpower, your self-talk, and then your core power, which is your self-care.
Self care. Wow, I love that. Mr. JC, self care indeed. Many of us are trapped in automatic emotional reactions. How does your framework help someone not just manage, but actually rewire those deep seated patterns?
Well, you know, I'm a classic overachiever. So I believe in being over prepared for the world. Um, if there's one thing that you need to do to prepare to reach a goal in your life, then think about two things or three or five that you can do that will also prepare you to reach that goal, because you will be sidetracked all the stoplights between here and your destination will never be green when you start. You have to get in your car. You have to understand that there are going to be stoplights, there are going to be detours. You're going to take a wrong turn. And eventually you get back on track because you have set goals. I think that's the fundamental understanding is that if you have a dream, you have goals, eventually you're going to reach there. But you have to understand that there may be distractions, there may be setbacks along the way, and that that's part of the process. There's no other way to do it.
Yes, that's the process, people. Follow the process and you will be successful. To what extent was this framework born from your own personal journey? Was there a specific crisis point that forced you to discover your own antidote?
Well, I was 13 years ago, I was hit by a car. I was on my bicycle and I was the first person to roll through an intersection. A car ran a stop sign on the gas at 55 miles an hour and wiped me out. And it caused me to reflect on the different parts of my life, the communities that stepped in to help me heal. And that opened my eyes to the reality of this framework that we each have emotional bank accounts. The good news is we each have a positive balance in all seven of these areas. But there are some areas where we might feel like we have a little bit of a deficit. And so I describe in my book, Antidote, a new emotional wealth framework, a way for you to get back from setbacks by focusing on each one of these areas. There's a workbook in the book that allows you to convert these concepts into your own life and set goals for your own achievements.
Mr. JC, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Say that again.
What are your short term and long term goals, Mr. JC?
My short term and long term goals. Um, I'm excited to say that I'm working on a new book about reframing the old concept of the work life balance, because I think that that's a misnomer. And we've developed a mindset that we are on one end of a seesaw or another. And I believe that's not true, that we have a work life integration that is our fundamental reality. And if we embrace this, then we can begin to explore and build our superpowers of willpower and core power. So that's my short-term goal is working on this next book so I can share it with you on Book Review 101.
Good luck to your goals and looking forward that for that book, Mr. JC. And good luck to your goals.
Thank you so much.
And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
I'm sorry, the extended goal?
Yes, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Let's say that again. A book, what?
Yeah, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
That I want to
Recommend to our
that I want to
listeners.
recommend?
Yes, please.
Ah, wasn't really prepared for that question. Uh, I like a lot of biographies, so I would say read pretty much any biography. It tells the life of people who have overcome obstacles and achieved success in their life.
Definitely. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
You know, take the first step. I think the most important thing is to write the book that you would like to read instead of writing a book that you think you need to write for someone else. Uh, when I was stuck on my very own book, I decided, I had a conversation with a friend and he said, write the book that you would like your granddaughter to read. And that helped me get unstuck. And I began to explore the emotional wealth framework. So I think taking the first step, uh, speak out loud what you believe is the message of your book, and then begin to write. And writing consistently is the key to producing a book.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. JC. And if you could have every reader take away just one fundamental principle from Antidote, what would it be?
Another thing that my mother said to me when I was younger, she said, remember, we're all in this alone. And what she really meant was you alone are responsible for your corner of the universe, for your edge of this amazing fabric that we call humankind. But we are all connected. And that's the wonderful thing about um, our relationship to the world. So, the takeaway message of this book is that we are connected. We're responsible for our own piece of this humankind that is so special. Um, but the connection is where we belong, and that allows us to be strong.
Mr. JC, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101, and mental health 101 love letters in the fourth season, as well as my movie 101 review, music 101, and my science 101. My Science 101 and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. JC, now that this book is out in the world, what is the next piece of work, research, or mission that this framework want to offer?
I think we have these superpowers that are completely within our grasp. So it's up to us to take the next step, use the emotional wealth framework to build your own resilience. The steps are right there in the book.
Indeed. And Mr. JC Chamberlain, thank you so much for sharing your book to the world. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your antidote?
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Yes, so Mr. JC, where do people can buy your book?
We're on Amazon, and you go to antidotethebook.com, and you will see you can buy it for a discount. We also are on Kindle and on the audiobook Audible. So there are several ways you can read the book.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. JC Chamberlain because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering book like this to come. So, Mr. JC, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.